What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Five Red Lights. My name is Jesse Finver. With me, as always, Howard Goldberg, and we're on a little bit of a break, a little summer break right now, Howie, but we did have a race, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, that we want to talk briefly about. But we're going to spend a lot of this pod talking about our season predictions that we made at the beginning of the year, and how right and how very, very wrong I was about so many things during this episode. But dude, how we doing? How's it going? Road course for NASCAR this weekend. You had me watch was definitely more my speed.
Yeah, that was the Glen, Watkins Glen. They run a bit of a modified version. They don't run the boot configuration. So there's a longer configuration that they could run. But NASCAR chooses not to. Yeah, it's always fun when you see those guys turning left and right. But currently, and I told you this before the race, Shane Van Gissenberger is kind of the guy in NASCAR on the road courses right now. All the drivers know it. Denny Hamlin on his podcast said that, the 2-3 road courses you go to every year, you could chalk up a win for Shane.
Yep.
Right. So it's a bit like that, but it's still really exciting nonetheless to see them fighting up and down the field. I think that's something you get in NASCAR that you don't get really in F1 is that one, there's a ton of pit stops. So you're stopping 4 or 5 times a race, maybe 6 even. So there's a lot of, shake up from that and then getting back to your position on track through pace. Also, the cars can take a bump. So it creates more interesting racing knowing that. You can get a little more aggressive. But yeah, really fun.
There are also stages, which threw me for a loop.
Yes.
I was like, what is this, the Tour de France? Like, what's going on here?
Exactly. Yeah, so there's that. There was also IndyCar this weekend. They raced in Portland. And that was a really interesting race. There were 2 big storylines. There was Will Power. He had a great weekend. He has the most pole positions in IndyCar history. And didn't get the pole this weekend, but he got a win. And he's currently in a big contract situation with Penske. He's on the older side. Will obviously as the all-time pole leader in IndyCar, been around for a while. And it doesn't look like Penske is going to re-sign him. Last year, he won 3 races. This year, Penske has been winless. Penske hasn't gone winless since 1999.
That's a long time.
Right. There are now 3 races left. And he just secured their first win of the season. And they're going to potentially let him walk. And so it was a huge story in that sense. And it was really fascinating to watch it. It was almost like if Checo went and won in like the second to last race of the season last year.
Yeah.
Ended up like saving his seat or something. We don't know if Will Power saved his seat. But interestingly, as I was watching the Fox broadcast, Will Power wins the race, and the last time you saw him was as he crossed the line. Because he crossed the line, they said, "Congratulations to Will Power on the win," and then they cut to Alex Palou, who then crossed the line in like 3rd place and won his 3rd straight IndyCar championship that day. And it was incredibly abnormal for somebody to win that championship with multiple races to spare.
That's how dominant he's been, yeah.
The nature of that series, all the cars being the same. It's one of the most dominant seasons IndyCar has ever seen.
Similar to Max the last couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's won 4 He's won 4 championships. He's 27 years old. He's been in the sport for 5 years, 6 years. He's won 4 championships.
That's not bad. Wait, so I wanted to ask you. I saw a clip this weekend that at first was funny, and then it wasn't funny, and then it was funny again.
Connor Zilic, I know where. Yeah.
Yeah. What happened there? So he just like fell and knocked himself out.
He fell. What it looked like to me. So
did he win the race and then he was celebrating and
the race.
Fell out? They knocked himself out cold.
So a little bit of background.
Hold on, real quick. They were interviewing him the next day, right? That was him in the sling.
Yes. A little bit of background on him. Connor Zilic is the hottest prospect in stock car racing. This kid is the shit, and he wins races like it's nothing. And he's going to keep doing that at whatever level he races at.
As long as he doesn't knock
actually,
himself out.
a couple weeks ago, a video surfaced of he's a Red Bull athlete.
I saw him wearing a Red Bull hat. So
there was a video surfaced a few weeks ago at an event where he was standing, both him and Max Verstappen were there, and he was standing right next to his car, his stock car, and Max comes walking by, and they like exchanged a look, and Connor goes, "You want to give it a try?" And Max goes, "I would love to, but not right now." So it was kind of a fun moment there, and that's like the kind of potential people think he has in the stock world, is like world champion, world beater type of potential.
How dominant.
So like that's why it was like crazy to see him in a situation like this. What I think happened was, so in a stock car, you get in and out of the car through the window. There's no door. I think that's pretty common knowledge if you're listening to this podcast. And the way they keep the driver safe from any debris during the race is with a driver net, a catch net. And it's like big harness straps basically in like a checkered pattern. And it hooks to the inside of the window. And it's really hard to get off, but it's really hard to get on, but pretty easy to get off by design. And so at the end of the race, driver releases that as they slide out of the car. And so that's sitting like on the ledge of the window, that little piece of fabric. So, his foot is on there. He's like twisting, trying to get up to the roof, turn around for a picture. And obviously his foot on that net kind of slipped on the window and gave out. And it's really unfortunate. Luckily, driving is one of those things that you can do with an injury. It's just it's how well he can manage it. SVG, Shane Van Gissenbergen, drove with a broken collarbone himself a few years ago. Said it's possible with good drugs and the right mentality. But it was a really unfortunate situation, but it was good to see Connor kind of make light of it on social media afterwards.
And in person, it was like, yeah, I'm all right. Don't worry about me, guys.
Yeah.
Like, okay. You mentioned his interaction with Max. How dominant would Max Verstappen be in stock car racing?
There's no way of knowing. Unless he did it, there's no way of knowing. Because, one, the cars are much more similar. Everything's built to the same regulation, and there's a lot more wiggle room in what you can do. It's really about engines and setup. So, it's, do you have a Ford, a Chevy, a Toyota in your car? And how good is your team at optimizing setup? It's almost like IndyCar in that sense. Different teams will put slightly different aerodynamic things on their car, but at the end of the day, in NASCAR, they have basically like a mold that they like put over the car for inspection, and it has to pass. So there is a lot less wiggle room in what you can do. So, I mean, I think Max will find a way to be incredibly fast in any car he's in. But like we've seen it before. We saw Juan Pablo Montoya try NASCAR, and he was a great F1 driver. He was a race winner, multiple race winner in the Schumacher era, Mika Hakkinen era. And he came over and he had some success, but it was a really, really difficult conversion for him to make.
Interesting.
So it's a totally different driving style. These cars are so heavy compared to an F1 car.
Yeah, they're huge. That is pretty. That's a good point. All right. Well, let's get back to F1.
I think I will say the one thing that works in Max's favor is that he likes sim racing and he likes driving all different kinds of cars on the sim. Like
yeah, I'm sure he's driven stock
and all that
cars.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm sure he's driven stock cars plenty of times on his sims.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's transition. Let's go back to F1. All right, the Hungarian Grand Prix. We'll just touch on it real quick.
Very brief.
Very brief.
Not noteworthy.
It was a McLaren 1-2 at the top. George finished it out. Charles in 4th. Nando in 5th. Bortoletto in 6th.
Yeah, he had a fantastic race.
Stroll in
fantastic
7th.
weekend.
Stroll in 7th. Lawson in 8th. Max in 9th. And Kimi in 10th.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this felt like it was Charles's weekend when we saw qualifying. He was just flying. And I believe what I saw or heard was during the race, something happened with his floor. And that just killed his pace, and he couldn't stay ahead of Oscar. And he fell all the way back to 4th. 42 and a half seconds behind Lando. So that's really unfortunate for him because he was looking amazing.
Yeah, great performance from Charles on Saturday is nothing new for us. But there's something about that was particularly special. It just didn't seem like it was possible. You know, he didn't have that pace in Q2, Q1. It quite literally came out of nowhere, like a bolt of lightning. And all of a sudden they weren't even tracking that lap as he was doing it. He just like came across the line and they were like, oh my God, Charles Leclerc to the top. It was spectacular. Being able to watch him extract that from the car. And yes, like you said, very unfortunate that his pace dropped off like that he had some issues on Sunday, which kind of is the opposite of the Ferrari story this season, right? Usually their issues come on Saturday, and then they're trying to overcome them. They have great pace, and they're just trying to overcome those issues on Sunday. So it was an interesting little inflection.
Sticking with Ferrari real quick.
Yeah,
there were some comments from Lewis Hamilton. Maybe this was fake. Maybe I got, but he was really hard on himself. He's been really hard on himself.
He has
lately.
Been very hard on himself recently.
Right? Like it was just like I have to look up the exact quote, but it was the hardest I've ever seen him on himself. Basically, like he didn't say this. Maybe he said this, but it was not in so many words. It was like, I don't deserve to be out there right now. Basically, like this is the worst I've ever been. Blah blah blah. Something along those lines. I need to look up the exact quote. But like, what is going on? Like, what is going on with Lewis? Do you think? Because I mean, is this just like a old age thing? Do we think?
No, I think it's the car. I think it's adjusting. I mean, it's taken Charles a while to really get the best out of the car too. Once you really look into his results from this year, it took through 7 races, Charles had 1 podium.
Yeah.
And in the 7 races since, he has 4. So, like, it has taken him a while to really unlock that car. And quite frankly, this is the first race Lewis has finished outside the points all season.
So he said,
like, I think
he called himself useless.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are overblowing it a little bit.
It's not. I'm not saying that.
He's sixth in the championship. I mean,
I know. I'm saying this is coming from him. He said he called him after qualifying. He called himself useless, and he suggested that Ferrari should consider changing drivers.
Well, that's what you would expect from somebody who's won 7 world championships and isn't winning anymore, and isn't beating his teammate, and is struggling to find that performance. He is P6 in the championship right now, right? And I mean, Ferrari at the beginning of the season was pretty clearly the 3rd best team, right?
Yeah, that was going in. I mean,
Mercedes pretty clearly was 2nd, McLaren 1st.
We'll get into all that later.
And well, no,
I was naive.
Right, no, but what I'm saying is they're now the 2nd best team. So Lewis being P6, that's not bad, right? Like, that's kind of what you would expect from a team that's been top 3.
Yeah,
season,
but he wasn't.
right?
But he wasn't P6 this week.
However, there's a 42 point gap between him and Charles. So, like, that's what he's getting at.
In the drivers' championship, he's
between him
6th.
and Kimi, but 42 between him and Charles.
This is just not up to his standard, and I think that's completely fair. It was just very surprising to hear him call himself useless. Before this 12th place finish, he went 7, 4, 4, 6, 6, 5, 4. Like, he was in the top 10 every single. He's, like you said, he's been in the top 10 every week outside of China when he got DQ'd.
He's finished in the top 5 more than a third of the season.
Yeah.
He's finished 5 times out of 14 in the top 5. So, like, he hasn't been bad. He just hasn't been the Lewis Hamilton he expects or we expect.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just wanted to bring that up because I remember that comment and I was like, that's something.
Yeah.
All right. Just, McLaren, they won this race. They're going to continue. I mean, this is just as dominant as we've seen.
4 straight 1-2s for McLaren. It's dominance we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. No one's catching them, obviously. They're up 300 points on Ferrari.
So they're 7th 1-2 of the season. They've gone 1-2 in half of the races.
Yeah, they're just way better than everybody else. It's just, Lando's 9 points behind. That'll be fun. I mean, I think another 1-2 wouldn't change that, actually. He'd have to win 2 more races. Or hope
it's a 7-point swing.
Yeah.
So and there's no more point for fastest lap. So
right. So he needs
just like a symbolic.
Yeah. Lando needs to, get on his horse here, and he needs to win a couple more races to pass Oscar. But it's going to be fun between these 2 teams. I mean, these 2 drivers. And how this season finishes. There's a bunch more races. There's a lot more races, and they're going to be going back and forth all year long. I mean, we've mentioned this so many times, but the battle between Max, George, and Charles will be fun. Charles is 36 points behind Max,
but I think he's going to end up with the best car down the stretch.
Right. So I think that it's completely plausible that Charles finishes in 3rd place this season. But we'll see. And I think that's a good spot to end on Hungary before we talk about rest of season stuff, which we'll get into later. But you had some rumors that you wanted to discuss that
it's summer break.
you've been hearing you've been seeing online?
Yeah, it's summer break. I think obviously the big thing people are wondering is Cadillac. What's going on with their driver situation? It's summer break. It's the peak of silly season. So I think we're really eager to find out news about who's actually going to be in those seats. And there's been a lot of names out there. I think the two most prevalent, the two that we've seen most strongly attached to a Cadillac are Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. It's known that they want an experienced known quantity to help lead their team and the development of their car. And it's pretty obvious those are the two options in that box for them. And then the second seat is really, really intriguing. Do they go with whoever they don't pick for the second seat of those two drivers? And kind of see who fits with the team better, give them both 1-year deals, who fits better with the team, and then kind of bring somebody in the second year to foster a young driver. Or is it going to be somebody like Mick Schumacher or Felipe Drugovich or Alex Dunn or someone else that we haven't mentioned? There's a lot of people out there. And it'll be really interesting to see what ends up happening. I don't think we're going to end up having an American, which a lot of people were speculating about really towards the beginning of the process, but there just isn't anyone in the pipeline that's ready from an American standpoint.
I mean, that's fine. Like, I'm not like Cadillac shouldn't be forcing an American driver, right? Like, this is Cadillac is probably the preeminent luxury American vehicle, right?
Yeah,
like Corvette. Like Corvette is up there. Like,
well, that's more a sports car, luxury vehicle. Yeah, I'd say it would probably have to be Cadillac. You know, Escalade, their sedans. Yeah.
So this is a premium brand that doesn't that they've been waiting for this opportunity. I mean, every car brand wants to be involved in Formula One. And you get this opportunity, you don't need to force an American driver in there. You want to get the best drivers possible to start. And I mean, I think it's a no-brainer to go with Checo and Valtteri, right? I think that you get the two most experienced drivers that both are race winners. You start building your driving academies up and getting young guys ready in the pipeline. You're not going to keep Valtteri and Checo forever, nor are they going to compete right away. They're going to be in the bottom of the field. But I think it's a no-brainer that they go with Checo and Valtteri. I mean, you go with the guys that are going to be able to get the most out of a shitty car, right? So I think that's the move.
Or the argument for having somebody young is that, and not experienced, is their learning at F1 can come when you don't have a car that can deliver anything, right? So theoretically, you're not really wasting anything. They're just driving around at the back learning, right? And that was part of that's why Latifi was able to hang around for 3 years, right? Obvious that and money. But Williams didn't have a car that was going to go score points, so they weren't missing out on anything by
does Mick even want his second chance to be in a car that's going to be bad?
I mean,
there's something to be said. There's something to be said for just getting into the field.
There's also no guarantee about what I said that the car is going to be bad.
It's gonna be
It's just
bad. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Like there in the history of the sport, has a team ever joined F1 and had success right away?
Ron won a championship
So
in
one
their
team.
only season. I mean, Haas was pretty good pretty quickly.
Yeah, but they're like
Haas came in 2017 and they were P4 in 2019. Like,
oh, so two years later, I'm talking about like the first, like they're getting their feet wet right now. I mean, listen.
yeah, no, I know that, but at the same time, Andretti is a force in racing globally. Formula E, IndyCar, they they're partnered with other teams in like endurance racing. They understand racing, and it's a new set of regulations for everybody. They're coming into an even playing field, which I think is the biggest part. They're
That's a good
not
point. That's a good
they're
point.
not coming in to a set of regulations where everybody's had 3 years to fine tune everything already, and they're coming in brand new. So that's definitely an advantage, or not an advantage, but it wipes away a disadvantage.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. At the same time, I'm still gonna go with Checo. I'm still gonna go with Bottas.
Yeah, no, and I can't really argue against that. That's
Yeah. They're
very
just
valid in terms
they're the
of
best two
building up your
drivers that you
program.
they're the best two drivers available. I unless I'm forgetting somebody, but I mean they should be it's good that they'll be it so like Checo is reportedly gonna be named the next driver.
Yeah, the reports from Thomas Marr is that he's going to be announced at Monza. Although, haven't we heard before that Checo was set to be announced at a Grand Prix? Right.
Yeah. And then like we
So
also saw like the Bottas video.
I'll
Like he's
believe it
like
when I see it.
yeah, and then the Bottas video where he's getting into Cadillac and he's like, oh,
Nice
there's
seat.
nice
Yeah,
seat. Oh, there's two of them.
yeah.
Oh, you know, which like
That's
tongue in
just
cheek.
like I think that's just Valtteri being Valtteri. That's just like great stuff.
Yeah.
It's no, they're absolutely talking, but yeah, I think that was Valtteri being Valtteri.
All right. Let's move on to
One more thing.
rehashing. Oh, you have one more thing?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen with that Red Bull seat. I think pretty common thinking is that Yuki Tsunoda will not be in it, right?
Really?
Well, yeah, I think they'll go with either like Hadjar, give Lawson another chance, or go straight to Lindblad. Um, I think Yuki might find himself as a reserve driver at Aston until either Stroll quits or Alonso retires.
Think Stroll's
Because,
gonna quit? Is that like
well,
something that's
who
being
knows?
talked about?
Well, that's kind of what everybody questions how much he loves F1. I don't want to kind of feed into that, but it's just kind of what people say. Um,
It's being discussed. It's being talked about.
yes, it's the word on the street.
Yes.
It's been floated for years, and we've never seen any concrete evidence of it. So I guess in a way, it's a little bit unfair to suggest. So I guess we'll really go until Alonso retires, because that's more likely. How much longer is this guy going to continue racing? See him giving it
Forever.
definitely 2026, and depending how good the car is, 2027. But they're partnering with Honda starting next year, and Honda has supported Yuki all the way up through the youth ranks. So it's pretty easy to connect those dots.
All right. I wouldn't mind that. I think Yuki would look good in green. All right, let's move on. All right, we are going to be reevaluating our picks from the beginning of the season.
Yes, and giving ourselves a chance to rechart our course for the rest of the year.
So I I don't love
Get
my
it
picks at
out.
the beginning of the season.
Today, Junior.
I don't love my picks from the beginning of the season. I think that I think that I could have done a little bit better, but we're a little over halfway done with the season now, right? What race are we on? This is going to be.
We're at 14 of 24.
Yeah. Okay. So we're a little over halfway, and I think that we should go through. We should mention who we had for our picks. Talk about the biggest movers, and then give our picks for the rest of the season. How does that sound?
Sure. Do you think the best way would be to announce like, okay, for drivers champion at the beginning of the season, I had Lando first. Now I have Oscar first.
Yes.
That way,
Okay.
kind of, it's hard to remember the change.
All right. Yeah.
You know.
All right. So how about this? How about this?
Myself.
Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
Yeah. No, I'll go for it. I'll lay down the format.
All right.
Let's start with the drivers, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, beginning of the season, I thought had Lando in first. Now I have Oscar first. At the end of the season, I think what he's shown, his consistency, I think he'll end up being first. I had Max second, and I now have Lando second. Those McLarens are a runaway, and I think they're going to be very close. I think it's going to possibly come down to Abu Dhabi, but I think Oscar is going to edge Lando. Number 3, I had Oscar. I now have George. I think George's consistency combined with the pace of the Mercedes, particularly at the early part of the year, put him in a great position. And I think they'll be able to hang on pace-wise, and he's going to be able to stay up in third. I've got Max in fourth. I think he did too much damage early on. I originally had Charles in fourth. Sorry. Charles in fourth, now Max. I think, Max will continue to get the most out of that car as one of the greatest we've ever seen. Fifth, I had Lewis. I now have Charles. He's going to come on strong like we've seen him do. But I think ultimately the early season hole is just going to be too much to overcome without having first and second places available to him because the McLarens will be occupying them. Sixth, I had George, and now I have Lewis. I think that was the biggest mover. George moving up 3 spots for me, which I think is a testament to his consistency and how great a season he's actually having. Lewis down 1 spot from 5th to 6th. I think he's obviously had a rough go of it, but we've not seen the last of Lewis Hamilton. Number 7, I had Kimi Antonelli, and I'm keeping Kimi Antonelli. Enough said. 8th, I had Carlos Sainz. Oh, poor Carlos. What a disappointment this has been. However, I am replacing him with a fellow Spaniard, Fernando Alonso. I think I said this to you before. I think we're going to see some Fernando Alonso magic at the end of this season. We saw him not score through the first 8 races. He had 3 retirements. Since then, he's ripped off 26 points in the last 6 races. I think he's going to end up in 8th behind the big teams as the best of the rest. 9th, I had Liam Lawson. I now have Alex Albon. At this point, it sounds kind of ridiculous having Lawson up there, right? But we have to remember at that time he was in a Red Bull, and we expected the Red Bull to be pretty fast. Alex Albon was in contention for driver of the season through the first 6 or 7 races. He was unbelievable. And since then, it feels like the Williams car has gone by the wayside a little bit. But his early points haul will help him sustain position. 10th is where I originally had Albon. We expected good things from Williams this year. I now have Nico Hülkenberg in 10th. I think that Sauber's come on really strong since they put updates on it in Spain. Both him and Bortoleto have responded really well to it. And obviously that podium is going to give him a points haul that no other midfielder is going to have. So that's my top 10. My biggest movers, George up 3, Oscar up 2, Alonso and Hülkenberg up from unranked. And my biggest losers were Max down 2 and Lawson dropping from 9th to probably like 17th. Yeah.
All right. So I had Lando first as well. And I'm also changing that to Oscar. I'm rooting for Lando, but I think Oscar is going to win. I have Lando second. Now I had Max first. I had Max second. I was a little too high on Red Bull. I was just a little too high on Red Bull.
Bullish on the Bulls.
Yeah. I had Oscar third, and now I have Charles third. I believe that Ferrari is going to finish the season the strongest outside of McLaren. I think that Charles is going to win at least a race. He'll get a first place at some point. And
remember what I said. Remember what I said. The Ferrari win at Monza.
Yeah, you've been saying that.
2 races away.
Well, we'll see if he can pull it off.
Monza is 2 races away, and guess who's kind of coming into form?
Charles.
Yes, sir.
Our boy. Well, I had Charles 4th originally, and now I have Max 4th. I think that the Red Bull Max is just going to be Max, and he'll be fine. But that car, it's just not the same as it was. I had George 5th, and I have George staying 5th. I had Lewis 6th. I have Lewis staying 6th. I had Kimi 7th, and I have Kimi staying 7th. And I have some changes here. I also have Carlos Sainz 8th. And
all I see is Carlos Sainz.
All I see is him dropping out of the top 10 because he has had a rough season. Yes. I have Alex Albon there. I think that he is just Mr. Consistency and will continue to just hang around in that 6 to 10 range all season and secure that spot. I had also had Liam Lawson. No, that was just a bad pick.
You know who agrees? Helmut Marko and Red Bull Racing.
Yep. Now I have Nico Hülkenberg there.
I do have to say, because we've been a little rough on Liam, last 4 races, P6, retirement, P8, P8. So he's been doing better of late. And
also, the Racing Bull car is just better than anybody anticipated. So that's good for him. I had Yuki 10th. Sorry, Ukes. But you just can't handle that Red Bull. Nobody can other than Max. And I have Fernando Alonso coming in at 10th. I think that he will also have a strong finish. So that was my constructors. The biggest mover was, I guess, I didn't have a ton of huge movers. Max dropped 2. Lawson dropped 10.
Interesting. You have Yuki. Oh no, that was from earlier in the season.
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I honestly
my midfield stays the same.
Still decarb.
Yeah, my midfield stays pretty much the same. George, Lewis, Kimi.
You had Albon up from nowhere.
Yeah.
Albon and Nico up from nowhere.
Alonso George, up from nowhere.
Kimi all stayed the same.
And then there's a shuffle in the top 5. Other than George was shuffled the top 4. So, yeah.
Yeah, I still think there's no way George doesn't outscore Max by more than 15 the rest of the way. But that's where we can agree to disagree.
Yeah. That's why we do the podcast.
Sure.
You know? To disagree. To agree
Yeah.
and disagree.
You want to take the lead on constructors?
Yeah, so I had McLaren winning it all, and I'm keeping them there because they're gonna win it all. Yeah, I know, crazy. I had Red Bull second because I had Liam and Max in the top 10, and I was disillusioned and stupid. And
boy, you crazy.
Yeah, so Red Bull is not going to come in second. Ferrari's going to come in second. And then we're going to have Mercedes in third. I had Ferrari in third, so that I had Ferrari move up a spot. I had Mercedes in fourth to start the season. Now I have Red Bull in fourth. So there's a nice little shuffling there. Red Bull going from second to fourth, and then everyone else moves up one. Williams is staying at fifth. I think that Albon's
experiencing a tough period.
I think they'll be all right.
The thing is, they're not getting enough from Carlos, though.
Yeah, that's tough for them. But I mean, if you look at the constructors, they have an 18-point lead right now, and with how consistently Albon scores, I think that should be enough to hold off Aston Martin and Sauber. We'll see. I mean, listen, it's a prediction for a reason. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I had Racing Bull sixth. I now have Sauber sixth. I think that I believe in Sauber. I believe in Bortoleto. I believe in Hulkenberg. And will they get another podium? No, but they're way better than anybody thought they were, and that I thought they were. And I'm rooting for them. I have Aston Martin in seventh, staying in seventh. I had them to start. I have them staying in seventh. But it would not surprise me if they've jumped up to fifth. I'll just say that with how well Fernando's looked and even Lance has looked of late. I had Alpine in eighth. No, they're not. That was a bad pick. I think that's. I mean, you know what? I wouldn't say it was a bad pick. I'd say that's just an unfortunate pick. I don't think anybody expected Alpine to be this bad. And now I have Racing Bulls there. I had Sauber in ninth. And now I have Haas. Haas has climbed out from 50 miles of shit and clawed their way to ninth. And now underneath that 50 miles of shit is Alpine.
Wow.
Yeah, that's real tough. 11th place for Alpine. So that is my constructors' predictions for the rest of the season. Not a ton has changed at the top. Actually, I would say this. No, actually, a lot has changed. There's a lot of shuffling going on. I take that back. There's a lot of shuffling going on. But McLaren is staying where they are. They're going to win. Going out on a limb and saying they're going to win.
Okay. All right. So for me,
what you got?
One, I had McLaren staying. Two, I had Ferrari staying at 2. 3, I had Mercedes staying at 3. 4, I had Red Bull staying at 4. So I have
Howie got it all right off the bat. Oh.
I mean, yeah, I did. Anywho, 5. This is where we start to diverge. I have Aston 5. And where I come in on that is until the past 6 races, it was Williams had what? So that's 13 points. They had 57 points, and Aston Martin had 10 coming into Spain. And then Aston puts the upgrade on. And since then, it's been 42 points for Aston in 6 races. and 13 for Williams. So I see Aston overtaking them by probably Singapore, which is 4 races away. Yeah, I don't see Williams holding on very long from Aston. I think that car has kind of been waiting to be awakened, and I think they reached a point with their results that they kind of were like, you know what, Adrian, give us a couple hours and see what you can do. See what you notice about the car, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, let's take a break from next year. Just for
exactly. So yeah, I think that's definitely that. Almost a similar thing for Sauber, who I have in 6th. I had V-Carb in 6th at the beginning of the year. I have Sauber there now. So I have Williams dropping 2 spots to 7th. Aston was in 7th. Now I have Williams there. I had Alpine 8th. I now have V-Carb there. So they dropped 2 more spots. Had Sauber 9th. Now I have Haas there. And I had Haas 10th. Now I have Alpine there. The reason I have Sauber there is because they had 4 points through the first 8 races, and now they're on 51. They've had
Sauber's
47 points in the last 6 races.
Is Sauber's jump most unexpected of the last 5 years in Formula One? Like,
it might be, particularly when you consider the fact that this is the last team they're existing. They're completely switching brands for next year to Audi, and new regulations. So people kind of expected them just like kind of go out like a dying candle.
Like a lame.
Like people were just like expecting them to like die their death.
Yeah.
And they haven't. It's almost like they've kind of banded together and been like, let's give Peter Sauber, let's give Pete one last memory, before he's officially out of the F1 game. He's been around for so long in the paddock, and that team has just changed lead sponsor or partner dozens of times. They had like BMW and Alfa Romeo and just Sauber. So it's been like it's been remarkable. It's been a remarkable journey, and this latest step in it is, it's awesome to see. It's great to see Nico getting recognition for driving a team forward like this. I think he's always been a great driver. I think if you ask the drivers, they'll all say that. And the opportunities just haven't necessarily gone his way. And Gabriel Bortoleto is really starting to kind of show people something.
He's had success at every level. So like it's not super surprising that he's finally, like figuring it out. But it is great. Like I do love that for him. He's in 17th right now, but the last couple of races, he had 8th, DNF,
he has
9th,
14
6th.
points in his last 4 races, which for a back marker / back of midfield team is pretty good.
Sauber should just be really proud of how both their drivers are driving right now.
Mm-hmm.
Nico goes in the last 6 weeks, he goes 5th, 8th, 9th, 3rd, 12th, 13th. And in those 12th, 13th ones, Bortoleto was 9th and 6th. So they're competitive. They're competitive. That's all you can ask for from a midfield team, a back marker team that's now, I guess, a midfield team.
Yeah. They drove themselves up the field.
Good for them. I'm very happy for them. I'd love to see them continue it. Would it surprise me if they just dropped off a cliff? No, but I don't think that's going to happen.
For me, I think they're just going to keep putting into the car because this is a chance for them to have their best finish in years as a team. And it's a last ride for them. I mean, F it. What do we have to lose? Should be their mentality, right? This is the last time we get to be Sauber before we turn into Audi. And I think they should run with it. You're going to see a lot of teams like Williams is only going to go along with this so long before they're like, you know what, if we're just going to be finishing one car P8, P9, and the other car P15, P16, let's just turn it off and focus on next year to hopefully do better than that and get both cars in the points, you know? So, yeah, I think there's a real opportunity for them, and that's partly why I have them above Williams. I think Williams is going to look a bit more to the future.
All right. So, yeah, absolutely. All right. So we have one more section to go through, and that's rookies. And I'll go first because mine's pretty quick. I had Kimi, and I'm sticking with Kimi, and then I had everybody else as my prediction because I didn't know a ton of the rookies. I didn't know a ton of the rookies. Now, my prediction is I'm gonna go Hadjar, Lawson, Bortoleto, Bierman, Alpine, because they both their second driver, they had two rookies, and Colapinto and Doohan, and whoever is driving that car is just screwed. So, I mean, I think the Racing Bulls has been super consistent. I am very impressed with Hadjar and Lawson since he joined Racing Bulls. I think that he got a tough shake at Red Bull, and he's been much improved since he joined Racing Bulls. Bortoleto, we just talked about him. I think he's an impressive driver. He's a success at every level that he's been at. I just think that the Racing Bulls car, I think the Racing Bull car is just solid, and they've been consistent. A little more stable. I mean, I do have Sauber finishing above Racing Bulls, but a lot of that is also, if you look at the...
Go ahead, say it's Nico and not Bortoleto. I know you want to say it. Go ahead, say it.
It's Nico. It's Nico.
You're a dick.
It's my guy. And then I have Ollie Bierman, who is an impressive driver, and Haas has been a fun team this year.
He's got hit lately a bit with
some
P11
penalties.
Merchant. Like, it's been rough. He's gone P11 a bunch of times and just missed out on points.
Yeah, and he's also got hit with like grid penalties, some stupid mistakes, rookie mistakes that he's made. And then and then Alpine. I'm not even gonna bother giving them any of my breath because they're just so disgusting.
Valid.
And for you, my friend?
For me, I had Kimi 1. I was high on the hype train. Hype train's cooled off a bit because I want to let him get his legs without a lot of pressure because, you know, he hears everything I say, and I really want to make it easier for him without pressure coming from me. So whatever. I think people will say, yes, he has the best car, though. Even so, a podium, that's impressive. It hasn't been easy despite having a good car. So he pulled out that podium in the midst of his toughest stretch of the season. A bunch of retirements, some of them engine related, some out of his control. So great bounce back from him. Second, I had Lawson, expecting good things from him in the Red Bull. Now I have Gabriel Bortoleto. I think what he's extracting from that Sauber is really impressive. I am definitely taking the car into account a little bit in terms of what I'm grading and how much he's progressed, and also keeping in mind that this isn't necessarily a current what I think they're doing right now. It's also where I think they're going to stand at the end of the season. And I think by the end of the season, he will have clearly set himself apart as, a top rookie, top two at least. Third, I had Hadjar. I still have Hadjar there. Definitely fallen off a bit, but I think his early performances have shown us how much talent is there. And I think he'll get back to that. Fourth, I had Bortoleto. I now have Lawson. I think it's just a hard knock at the beginning of the season, and he'll be back. I think also it's a very close between Hadjar and Lawson. I think we'll see that throughout the rest of the season as they kind of go back and forth in that V-carb. Fifth, I had Doohan. I now have Ollie Behrman. Ollie got off to a really good start this year. I just don't think he's necessarily progressed with the car as well as possible. I think it's noticeable how much better Esteban has gotten on with that Haas over the course of the season. And I'm hoping he can turn it around a bit because I know he has a ton of talent. And then sixth, I had Ollie. And now I have the Alpine guys, Doohan and Colapinto. Justice for Jack Doohan, man.
Yeah.
And it's nothing personal against Colapinto, but Jack Doohan, it felt like there was kind of a linear improvement going on week to week. And there's no such thing, it feels like, with Colapinto. Ultimately, I'd love to see Valtteri Bottas in that car for the rest of the season, give him a chance to prove himself for Cadillac. But yeah, that's my rookie ratings.
I just looked it up. Ollie Behrman in his last bunch of races. So he had DNF 11th, 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 17th, 12th.
It's a lot of P11s.
Yeah.
A lot of almost points.
He got points in Belgium.
In the sprint race at Belgium. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's tough. That's tough for our guy. So yeah, those are our predictions for the rest of the season, and compared to the wonderful predictions we made preseason. The next race is August 29th to the 31st. That weekend. Zandvoort in
the annual Max Verstappen Festival.
The Netherlands, yes. So expect big things from Maxwell. There's like a
even
silhouette.
If he doesn't have the car, he is full sending it. Ooh, baby.
Oh yeah. So that'll be a very fun. That'll be fun. Netherlands, and then we get Italy, and then Azerbaijan. So a bunch of great races coming up. Netherlands' track is lots of twists and turns.
Yeah, I was going to say it is a track where on the infield part, the driver can make quite a difference.
So we're looking at like turn 11 and 12.
Are you looking overtaking?
Yeah.
All right, one sec. Let me pull this guy up. And I will tell you real quick. So obviously into one.
Yeah.
One.
At the long DRS zone.
Even into like 2, 3, you can really get one done anywhere from into 1 to like 6. It's really depending on the run. Turn 3 has a high banking. So it's not a huge braking zone in there. So you're able to follow pretty closely. That's where Daniel Ricciardo broke his hand a couple years ago, trying to avoid Oscar Piastri. And then, yeah, there's a little bit, there's DRS between 10 and 11. So there's a little bit of a look into 11, but it's not the longest run. So it's it's pretty hard. You need to be much faster than the car in front of you.
Yeah, then there's a slight little bit braking zone. Yeah, you'd have to be
Yeah. And then there's another big banking on 14, between 13 and 14. So you kind of come flat out already onto that main street.
Oh yeah.
And DRS starts right around where the number 14 is too.
This will be a good one, but we got a little bit of time. We got half of the month to go before we get to this race.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts as we wrap up here, my friend?
I have not one thought in this
one.
Head. Yeah, it's a pretty scary place.
All right, folks. Well, that's it for us. Thanks for tuning in. And we will talk to you guys in a couple of weeks. And we'll enjoy our summer break and then catch back up after Netherlands.
Yes, sir.
Peace.